from Bahamas at the Bahamas Convention Center for the 2023 Bahamas Hoops Summer League. Tonight's second game featuring the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Bahamas Pirates. At this time, we ask that you please rise for the playing of the national anthems of the United States and the Bahamas. Thank you. Let's get this started for tonight's game. First, for the Penn State Nittany Lions, and for the Bahamas Pirates. Player number 2, Stephon Smith. Number 3, Valentino Simon. Player number 9, Christoph Stewart. Number 0, Kevin Hudson. And here in the draw, Joshua James. And now the starters for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Wearing number 0, Kanye Clary. Number 1, Ace Baldwin Jr. Wearing number 3, Nick Kern Jr. Number 14, Demetrius Lilly. And number 24, Zach Hicks. Head coach of Penn State, Matt Rose. Your officials for tonight's contest, Rogers Ayers.
All right, everybody, welcome here inside the lovely Baha Mar Convention Center in Nassau. This is the second game of the Baha Mar Hoops Summer League. from this gorgeous resort. Penn State, the Nittany Lions out of the Big Ten, getting set to go up against the Bahamas Pirates, a locally operated team here on the island here in Nassau. We'll get you the starting lineups. First for the Bahamas Pirates, Tevin Hudson, Stephen Smith, Valentino Simon, number 3 in green. Valentino Simon, probably the best player on this roster. A couple of weeks ago, he posted on his social media he is committed to Hutchinson Community College in the United States. Christopher Stewart and Joshua Dames round out the starting 5 for the Bahamas Pirates. For the Penn State Nittany Lions, new era, Mike Rhodes, first-year head coach. His starting 5 is as follows. 3 guards set with Kanye Clary, Ace Baldwin Jr., and Nick Kern Jr., 2 VCU transfers. Demetrius Lilly and Zach Hicks in the front court. It's Lilly who jumps center circle and wins it. And the Nittany Lions in the white unis start with the basketball. Sam Hyman with you on FloHoops. Thanks for joining us in paradise as Ace Baldwin Jr. misses the first shot of the game. Clary, a little hesitation there, and Demetrius Lilly will go to the free throw line. Number 14, a sophomore, 6'10", 245 from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Tevin Hudson picks up the foul. Lilly last year only played in 5 games as a true freshman. I read a really cool article, an inspiring article on PA Prep Live written by Matthew DeGeorge on Demetrius. He originally wore number 35 in high school. However, after Principal Sean Hughes passed away in a tragic car accident, Lilly looked for a way to remember Sean and changed his number to 14 because Hughes was the principal at the high school Demetrius went to, Lower Marion, same high school as Kobe Bryant. He was the principal for 14 years. So that is a pretty cool story, an inspiring one that Demetrius Lilly plays for more than just basketball. Nick Kern Jr. gets Penn State ahead 4-2. And this second game of the day, we just saw Xavier take care of business against UVic. We're about a minute and change into the first half. A 4-2 lead, make it a 6-2 lead for Penn State. As Kanye Clary slashes to the tin, played in 32 games last season as a true freshman. Limited action, right around 10 minutes a contest. Ace Baldwin Jr. accelerates, distributes baseline to his teammate at VCU, now at Penn State, Nick Kern Jr. Those two connected ASAP. The Bahamas Pirates go the other way. Unable to connect. Again, Valentino Simon, number 3 in green, arguably the best player on the Bahamas Pirates roster. He is verbally committed to Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. Pirates basketball. An 8-2 lead as Demetrius Lilly takes a seat. And Puff Johnson checks in, the senior from Moon Township, Pennsylvania. First year with the Nittany Lions after spending 4 seasons at North Carolina, where he was the team's leading scorer off the bench for the Heels amongst the reserves. But he's looking to really have a breakout season in 23-24. Zach Hicks fires from the corner. Puff Johnson has struggled to shoot the 3 ball in his college career, just 28% last season. But Coach Rhodes told me that that's one of the biggest things he was good at during high school, as Johnson can't connect on the 3. Bahamas Pirates go the other way. Here's Tevin Hudson off the mark on a 3. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Pirates.
Out of bounds, Pirates basketball.
So Mike Rhodes, first season with Penn State. Spent the last 6 seasons as the head coach at VCU. Prior to that, engineered a terrific turnaround as the head coach at Rice. He's been in the coaching world, head coach at the college level. 19 seasons. His record is 373 and 189. He's been to 7 NCAA tournaments as Nick Kern Jr. finishes. So he's got a great resume. And one of the things that I really took away from his introductory press conference at Penn State was he said, we want to build something that is bold, as Zach Hicks cans a 3 from the left wing. He said, we want to build something that is bold, different, and aggressive. Penn State's head coach, big rule of thumb is 3 words. You say more than 3 words, a lot of people forget the rest. So bold, different, and aggressive for this Penn State team. Got a timeout on the floor. We will step aside. The Bahamas Pirates and the Penn State Nittany Lions doing battle. Nittany Lions leading at 13-12 with just over 16 minutes to go here in the first half. Back in a moment on FloHoops. Back inside the Baha Mar Convention Center, Penn State and the Bahamas Pirates doing battle. First game of 2 here this week for the Nittany Lions and Mike Rhodes' team. They'll play the University of Victoria from Canada on Thursday. Ace Baldwin, no look pass. Puff Johnson rattles in and out on the 3. As this will go to, it'll stay with Penn State. So this Penn State roster basically wiped clean after the 22-23 season. Still some pieces from a year ago, but 9 newcomers, 9 transfers, I should say. And that is something that Coach Rhodes is definitely focused on, is those transfers and the 1 freshman, hoping that they can bond and come together for an experience, during an experience like this one. One of the transfers at the free throw line, Raquandis Mitchell, a graduate student from Blaine, Minnesota. This is his 5th school. A journeyman at the college level, Idaho, Otero Junior College, University of Illinois, Chicago, Kansas City, and now Penn State in year 1. And on Nittany Sports Now, assistant coach Joe Crispin said, Raquandis Mitchell said when asked about what he wants to improve on, he said, Joe Crispin is teaching me how to be more efficient with my dribble. So that's something that Mitchell has been working on since he's arrived in Happy Valley. DeMarco Dunn just checked in for Penn State, number 2 in white. He's guarding the inbounds pass. UNC transfer. And Leo O'Boyle, who just contested that shot, but it doesn't matter as Tevin Hudson bangs in one from the elbow. 14-4 lead for Penn State. Leo O'Boyle, number 11 in white, the transfer from Lafayette. Here's DeMarco Dunn, who misses the jumper. Offensive rebound and the putback for Puff Johnson. 16-4 lead for Penn State. We'd like to thank those of you who are watching from near and afar, whether you're in the Bahamas, in the United States. We've had a number of viewers post about how basketball is happening in August. John Rothstein, shout out to John Rothstein, who tweeted, "This is only August," with only capitalized. That's right, basketball in August, gotta love it. Chance to watch some new faces on different teams. We will take a quick break. In the first half, Penn State leads it 16-4 over the Bahamas Pirates on FloHoops. All right, back inside the Baha Mar Convention Center, 16-4. Penn State leads the Bahamas Pirates, a team from Nassau, the island. Their head coach, Cronoff Dean. Here's Ace Baldwin Jr., the VCU transfer. Little give and go with Leo O'Boyle. Good ball fake there from Ace Baldwin Jr. Steps in, rhythm J. Ace Baldwin Jr., he took some extra shots after shoot-around today. I watched him shortly after 2:30-ish. He was dialed in. And this is a young man, senior from Baltimore, Maryland, the 2023 A-10 Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year for the VCU Rams last season. Only the fourth player in A-10 history to win A-10 Player of the Year and A-10 Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, as that pass worms out of bounds. Pirates ball. Quite impressive. And Mike Rhodes and Ace Baldwin have a deep relationship that goes back prior to Ace arriving at VCU in 2019. When Ace was at St. Francis Academy, his father was diagnosed with leukemia, and Ace, very close with his father, calls his father my everything. And once his dad passed away later that year in 2019, Ace considered giving up basketball, but decided to play for his dad, and Coach Rhodes would always call and offer support for Ace. It's a great SI article, Sports Illustrated article, written about the relationship between Ace Baldwin and Coach Rhodes, and certainly it is super deep, given the fact that Ace would follow Coach Rhodes to a different school in Penn State and trust him. That is why relationships matter and are important in sports and in life. Penn State out to a 20-6 advantage. This is Valentino Simon, the Hutchinson Community College commit. Baldwin Jr. flips it to Raquandis Mitchell, zips it inside to Puff Johnson, who flips it up and in.
Scoring style for Penn State, number 4, Puff Johnson. Timeout.
Timeout on the floor. Puff Johnson
Timeout. Penn State.
With 6 points. This will be a 30-second timeout, so we will keep it here on FloHoops. But yeah, going back to that story with Ace Baldwin and Coach Rhodes and their deep connection, you know, it is bigger than basketball when it comes to coaching and relationships. Not always about the X's and O's. And Mike Rhodes, I spoke to Mike Rhodes actually last week, and just a great person, and so happy about this opportunity in Happy Valley. He was hired on March 29th, 2023. I'm sure that's a date he'll never forget. And, you know, I spoke to Coach and said to him, like, what's the biggest challenge coming into your first season? And he said bonding. We gotta expedite that bonding process with all these new faces. I asked him, how do you expedite the bonding process? And he said, spend time with players all the time. As soon as Coach Rhodes arrived on campus, it took time for the coaching staff to move their families, so it was a great opportunity for the coaches to lock in and meet these players. The 9 transfers and 1 freshman make 10 newcomers as Leo O'Boyle misses a 3. Pirates the other way. Fadeaway jumper up and down. Good shot from Philip Dawkins. Kanye Clary brings the ball up the floor, accelerates, picks up his dribble. Good off-ball movement. Jameel Brown lays it up and in. Jameel Brown, the sophomore from Philadelphia, out of the Haverford School and Westtown School. Brown floats it up to Kanye Clark, now scoops it back to Jameel Brown. Pirates the other way. Chaotic sequence in transition, and the Nittany Lions back with the basketball. Kanye Clary swings it over to Leo O'Boyle. Raquandis Mitchell through traffic with his 5th school. Raquandis Mitchell, well-traveled, originally from Minnesota, as Valentino Simon buries the jumper. Simon, arguably the best player on this roster. Now whistle and a foul. Foul goes on Andre Pierre, and we will step aside. 26-10, Penn State out of the Big Ten. I'll tell you about what they accomplished last season, give you a bit of a refresher when we come back on FloHoops.
The first will be the Bahamas Championship featuring Kansas State, Miami, Providence, and Georgia on the 17th and 19th. The 10-team Pink Flamingo Championship brings some of the best in women's college basketball to Bahamas, including USC, Ohio State, and Penn State. That'll take place on the 20th through the 22nd. Finally, the 8-team national championship will be played on the 24th and the 26th, featuring some of the top mid-major teams in the country. Visit BahamaHoops.com for full info.
.53 to play in this first half. Penn State leads the Pirates from the Bahamas 26-10. Sam Hyman with you on FloHoops. Thanks for being a part of this Tuesday evening. Penn State coming off a terrific season, 23-14, 10-10 in the Big Ten, and made the big dance for the first time since the 2010-2011 season. A season ago, they made the big dance as a 10 seed and beat Texas A&M. Ended up losing to Texas in the next game, but this is a team that made it all the way to the Big Ten championship game, lost to Purdue in the title game, and now Mike Rhodes takes over. And this is a great opportunity for the new group to bond with the departures of Jalen Pickett, Seth Lundy, Cameron Winter, and Andrew Funk. Penn State fans have traveled as well as Valentino Simon misses the jumper for the Bahamas Pirates. Jameel Brown shoves it over to Kanye Clary, hesitates, high off the window, no dice. Demetrius Lilly tries to stick it back. Lilly again absorbs contact and will go to the free throw line.
Foul call on the Pirates, number 6. That's Aaron Pierre, his first. Team foul number 3. At the line, shooting 2 for Lions. For 14, Demetrius Lilly.
Demetrius Lilly to the free throw line. I mentioned earlier, only played in 5 games as a true freshman, got the start today. 6'10" forward from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, out of Lower Merion High School, the same high school as the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant. Penn State so far shooting 42% from the floor, only 1 of 11 from 3 for the Nittany Lions. Kanye Clary stops on a dime. Lilly battles for it. He's got a massive size advantage at 6'10". Lost it though, and the Pirates move the other way. Step back 3, Tevin Hudson, cash.
3-point basket for the Pirates, number 0, Tevin Hudson.
That's the first 3 for the Bahamas Pirates. Jameel Brown picks up his dribble, finds Nick Kern Jr. for a second, lost it. Pesky defense from the Pirates, and now look at Nick Kern dive on the floor. A tie-up, jump ball, and the arrow favors the Pirates. And look at that. Both guys wearing number 3, Valentino Simon and Nick Kern Jr. Quick little hug there, and I'm sure the two appreciate the hustle, the competition. That's something that, you know, even though this is a summer league game, it is important to have some live game competition. Sometimes it's hard to replicate a loose ball dive on the floor scenario. Zach Hicks finds it for Penn State. Here's Nick Kern, the VCU transfer, swings it over to Zach Hicks, Temple transfer. Kern worms his way inside and turns it over. Step back 3, Tevin Hudson off the mark. Kern secures the rebound. Three-pointer up from Jameel Brown, no dice. Penn State 1 of 12 from downtown. Kanye Clary dashes across the timeline like a cheetah. Some quickness. Foul against the Bahamas Pirates with 9:24 to play in the first half.
Foul call on number 12.
Couple of substitutions.
Josh James, his first.
Ace Baldwin Jr. checks in, and Bragi Goodmanson, the lone freshman on this Penn State roster out of Iceland. Bragi is the younger brother of John Axel Goodmanson, who played basketball at Davidson College in Davidson, North Carolina. Zach Hicks misses the 3. Rebound, Pirates. The Bahamas Pirates played yesterday against Southeast Louisiana, and the day before yesterday against Furman, lost both of those games. They've been getting a lot of D1 competition of late here in Nassau. Valentino Simon had a game-high 32 points in last night's loss to Southeast Louisiana. He's the guy that I talked about earlier. And maybe he ends up one day on a Division I team in the United States. He's going to play junior college at Hutchinson Community College in Kansas this upcoming year. 28-13 lead for the Nittany Lions. Clary secures the rebound. Now Zach Hicks, ball fake, steps back and finds Demetrius Lilly. Lilly burrows his way inside and puts it in off the square. Demetrius Lilly with 6 points. Kanye Clary finds Bragi Goodmanson. Can't finish. Freshman still hustling though. A good aggressive play from Goodmanson on the defensive end. Now Lilly left open, misses the dunk. Maybe he got a little bit distracted because there was a Pirates player that slipped underneath him. 30-15 lead for Penn State, shooting 38% from the floor as Goodmanson misses the three, knocked out of bounds, and we'll go to the Bahamas Pirates. So we will have a special guest coming up on the broadcast in just a moment. Stay tuned for that. I'll surprise you. 7:37 to play, first half. Back in a moment on FloHoops.
We have a nice activity for you, the lucky contestant. We are going to do a Bahamian spelling bee, right? Because it's only right. We're also in Bahamas. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 5 words. 4 out of 5. You have to guess right, or spell right, I'll say, and give you a nice t-shirt, okay? All right, DJ Potter Slim, go ahead and spin that record real fast. The first word we're going to have you spell is Tingum. Tingum. Look at that Tingum over there. Tingum. All right, we're going to move on to the next one, okay? The next one is going to be key. I'm going to the treasure key, the turtle key, traveling to the cocoa key. K-E-Y, that is not correct. I do apologize. It's C-A-Y. That's how the Bahamians pronounce when we say K, right? The next word is, brought up seed. Brought up seed. Brought up seed. All right, we're gonna move on. The next one is gonna be Inagua. In-a-gua. Ooh, I thought you had this one, okay? Yeah, we got a little bit of time left. All right, last word is gonna be Junkanoo. No. So fans, give her a round of applause one time. We appreciate you. We're still gonna go ahead and give her a nice t-shirt brought to you by Baja Bar. We appreciate you all.
All right, welcome back to Nassau, Baja Mar Hoops Summer League action, and our special guest joining us on the broadcast is Mario Boleg, the Minister of Youth, Sport, and Culture here in the Bahamas. Welcome, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sam. Thanks for being here.
Now, what's it like watching basketball in paradise in the Bahamas?
As they say, saying goes, it's always better in the Bahamas, and here's another form of sports in paradise where we have these games played here right on the campus of Bahama. We have a pretty good game going on right here with Penn State and the Pirates, the select team. So, you know, as the Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture, just happy to be here and seeing all of these fans that came out to watch this game.
Yeah, what's the connection, the conversation like between, you know, someone like yourself and this Baha Mar resort? to continue and make the uptick of basketball more often here?
Well, you know, tourism is the #1 industry here in the Bahamas, and me being the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture and also a former basketball coach and a former national coach.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, so the love of basketball is always there. And NCAA seems to always find its footing here in the Bahamas, and so the relationship with Bahama and even some of the other properties here on the island, we understand what basketball can do for the community, the exposure it brings to the country, and also what it does, it uplifts the spirit and the camaraderie. But these are foreign teams when they come here. I can tell you, I remember Roy Williams when he comes down with North Carolina. He always say every time he comes to the Bahamas, he makes it to the Final Four. And so, you know, there are some teams that come on a consistent basis, and you can see the progress as the tournament goes on in the United States.
So this event put on by BD Global, President, CEO is Brooks Downing. Josh Franklin, heavily involved in organizing this amongst others. What's your relationship like with those folks and how they've really, you know, expedited this whole event, because it's not just Summer League. There's also a huge event in November.
Yeah. My relationship with these guys, with Brooke and Josh, goes back from when I was the president of the Basketball Federation. And, you know, when they started this tournament, it was myself who got along with them and assist them in sanctioning the event, and putting the partnership between them and Jeff Rogers and the Bahamas with Sandy Sands. And so I'm happy that this venture continues with the Federation, with here in the August event, and also in November events, when I think they're going to have about 22 teams coming down. I think Portions doesn't know, but, you know, Nassau is the capital of basketball during Thanksgiving.
It is.
Because of the amount of teams that Division I teams are here in Atlantis, Bahamas, and also in Bimini. And so I call us the basketball capital during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's there's so much going on, and it's a lot of fun. So I wanted to touch on a little bit. You mentioned you were a coach for the senior Bahamian national team. You had the opportunity to coach a ton of guys. We'll get into some specifics, but what did you learn about yourself and about basketball from that experience?
You know, one thing you learn to deal with the different personalities. You're talking about 15 to 12 different guys, also having assistant coaches with different views, but you learn how to manage. Once you know how to manage people, you know, it helps me even in my professional life as a minister now, and even prior to being a minister as a manager in a commercial bank. And so sports has taught you a lot of things. And I mean, sports really teaches you some life lessons that some other things in life just don't teach you. And
What's
it
an
comes
example
with
of
experience. Well, again, having a little bit of patience. You know,
Yeah.
when you become a coach, you know, you have to understand that life doesn't go on today, but you always got to live to see tomorrow and the day after. And so you got to remember, you got to pace yourself. And so when you coach in the game of basketball, you understand that there's 4 quarters. Things happen. There's runs. Basketball is made out of runs. And so at one time, one team is going to make a run, the other team is going to make a run. You got to maintain your composure and stay focused on what you teach your guys and believe in what you do. And I believe that once you believe in what you do and your guys believe in you, you know, you always be successful. And I think that's why I am successful, not just in basketball, but in life.
Love that. That's amazing. We're joined by the Minister of Youth, Sport, and Culture, Mario Boleg, here in the Bahamas. FloHoops Summer League action going on right now. So if there's one game or one moment in your coaching career that you reflect on and think about a lot, what is it? Is it a game? Is it a practice, a conversation?
It's a game against the Dominican Republic when the Bahamas first qualified for the America's Cup qualifiers. And we were playing Dominican Republic in Dominican, and we were up like with 7 points, and they came back and tied the score. And I run a play for Buddy Hield, and he hit the shot. And when he hit the shot, he followed the shot and got the ball and run and bring it to me and give me the game ball and said, we got the first one. So,
when was this? What year
this
was
was
it?
about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can totally see that. He makes the game. Buddy Hield makes the game-winning shot, grabs the ball, and gives it.
And he hauled tail off the court, and everyone was coming, and he ran straight to me, give me the ball, and we all run in the locker room behind him.
Wow. Was that like, you know, from your team's perspective, the national team's perspective, one of the most signature moments, defining moments?
Because that was the first time we would have qualified at that level. And we'd never, the first time we went there, we never won a game. So it was the second time we came, and then we finally won 2 games in that window. And so from there, we continue to sail on high. And as right now, presently, the team is in Puerto Rico preparing for the Olympics pre-qualifiers in Argentina. Next week, they'll be there. And I'm happy to say that we got on that team Buddy Hield, DeAndre Ayton, and, of course, surprisingly to most people, Eric Gordon.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That was just announced a couple of days ago. Eric Gordon's mother with ties.
Bahamians,
Yep,
yeah, she's
ties
a
to the
Bahamian.
Bahamas. And I spoke to Eric Gordon's father when Aaron Gordon, Eric's brother, came
Right, his
down
younger brother.
and was a part of Bahamar Hoops. So do you have a good relationship with the Gordon family?
Oh, most definitely. And, the idea, too, is that hopefully one day we get Aaron. Hopefully one day we can go after Clay. All those guys who got ties, who parents or one of their parents are from the Bahamas. And, the FIBA rule doesn't allow us to have these persons born outside of the country who would have received passport after age 16. We can only allow one to play at a given time. But the truth be told, based on our Constitution, any child born outside of the Bahamas after 1973 to a single Bahamian parent, married or not, automatically have rights to Bahamian citizenship. And we wish that FIBA would open the door to our Constitution, which totally allow these guys to be a Bahamian and allow them to be registered as Bahamian. And I mean, sometimes whether they get their passport before age 16 or not should not determine their nationality and be able to play for their country. And you look at U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. If you're born anywhere in the United States and you have some ties, you can pay for them.
Yeah.
And that's why they are able to maintain their level of play. But you look at the guys that are descendants from the Bahamas. If we was to put all them on the floor one time, I can truly say our biggest competition in the North American region will only be United States and Canada.
Wow. So where would you say Bahamian basketball is right now, compared to when you really first dipped your toes in it?
We've progressed. It's a progressive movement that I've seen over the years. And again, to see some of these guys who played at the NBA level, like Buddy and DeAndre, them wanting to come home and continue to see the development of the players we got playing over in Europe and elsewhere. We continue to produce more players that will go to the NCAA. And so you can see there's a progressive movement as it relates to basketball and development of the game. And I'm happy where we are right now. We still are at the stage where we need to get more of our coaches more involved in developing and the deep learning of the game, if I could use those words. Because we got Chris DeMarco now as the head coach, assistant coach of Golden State Warriors, who is helped leading the team. And we got a few Bahamians there on the bench with him also, too, that's coaching NCAA.
Yeah.
Assistant coaches. So you're talking about the Lyndon L.J. Rose, you're talking about Tum Nan, all of those guys are there, And so we just want to get to the level where we have Bahamian coaches, Bahamian players, and we're getting up to that Olympic level.
Amazing stuff. You mentioned a couple of times the name DeAndre Ayton. 2016, you had the chance to coach him when he was, I believe, 18
years old,
yeah. A DeAndre Ayton at the age of 18. What was it like coaching DeAndre Ayton at 18?
First, when we took him over there, he said, "Coach, you didn't tell me he was coming to play against man." I said, "Use a man." Pull up your socks and let's go. And he actually annihilated those guys at that age, 18, and there were a few NBA teams there at the same time scouting him, and he proved to them that he had what it takes to go at the next level and play college basketball for a short period of time and then make it to the pros. And every time I see him, we always talk about those days when, he continued to grow and develop by us putting him on the national team and letting him feel those heavy hits from those grown men.
When was the first time you saw him? Do you remember DeAndre Ayton?
He was about 15 years old, and he had a foot of about 16, 17, and he couldn't find his shoes to put on his feet. And, Jeff Rogers saw him, and Jeff Rogers then hooked him up with a few of his friends and got him out of here and was able to send him to school. He was not that good, but, he learned the game pretty quickly and developed into the type of player he is today.
What did he learn? What part of the game do you think he learned the quickest?
Well, being able to just catch the basketball and having the fundamentals of ball handling. And I'm not talking about dribbling. Being able to catch the ball, maintain his posture, understanding he was a big guy and all he needed to do just rebound, pivot. So the basic fundamentals of a big, he learned pretty easy. And then eventually he learned how to put the ball in the hole.
Yeah, amazing. Look at him now, DeAndre Ayton on the Bahamian national team doing big things in the NBA as well. We're talking to the Minister of Youth, Sport, and Culture, Mario Bola, kind enough to spend a little bit of his time here in the Bahamas with us on FloHoops, Penn State and the Bahamas Pirates. One guy on the Bahamas Pirates roster, Mario Valentino Simon, he's going to a junior college this upcoming year, Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, which, again, there's just continues to be a bright future for Bahamian basketball.
Most definitely, and we continue to develop these guys, and it is events such as this put on by Josh and Brooke Dowling and some other agents that brings these teams here to the Bahamas that allow these young men to get this exposure, to see the level they are and where they need to go to be able to play at this level. And so that's why these games only not bring exposure to the country, but exposure to our basketball players. And so this continues to help our development program.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So with you as the Minister of Youth, Sport, and Culture here in the Bahamas, what does a typical day in the life of Mario Bolig look like for you?
Very hectic. You know, we do all we can to empower the young people. We know what sports can do for a country, and, you know, culture continues to make sure we maintain our identity as who we are as a people. And so it's a large ministry that allows me to deal with the holistic approach of all the individuals, all ages. Even though you say youth, which youths are involved in sports and culture, but culture and sports also involves the not so young also.
Right.
And so my ministry really impacts, entertains the entire nation. And like I say, we just had like the Carifta Games, which was in track and field. We holding the Carifta Swim. Next year we holding the World Athletics World Relays.
Okay.
Next year, and so again, so I always say that my ministry is the one that entertains everyone and helps to balance life, that stress. So after a stressful day life, we have some sporting event or some things going on with whether it's Junkanoo and culture that allow the Bahamians to relax their mind.
Junkanoo Jam. That's always a fun, festive time. Absolutely, for sure. And for anybody that's looking to come visit the Bahamas and watch basketball, there's the fish fry to go check out, get some conch salad.
All that Bahamian native dishes.
Yeah. What's your favorite Bahamian dish?
Well, crab and rice, and once you get your crab and rice with a nice piece of fish, fried fish, and then you got to swallow that down with a kalik. You cannot come to the Bahamas and don't taste a kalik.
No doubt, Mario. Well, we really appreciate you stopping by and giving us some good insight for sure.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. So any last words you'd like to say to the people?
We want to say to all the NCAA teams out there, you're welcome to come to the Bahamas at any given time. Come and try and get your team to become united, learn and iron out all those kinks to win those tournaments. And the season comes around, the Bahamas is the best place to come. Bring your family and just get united while not only just playing basketball, but in the paradise and having a fun, good time.
All right, Mario. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming on.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Mario Bolig, folks, Minister of Youth, Sport, and Culture here in Nassau. That's pretty cool stuff. He got to see a young DeAndre Ayton when he was 15 years old and couldn't figure out what size shoe to put on, couldn't find a shoe to put on. And look at him now as a huge part of the NBA and a huge part of the Bahamian national team, which, by the way, if you're following, the Bahamian national team beat Kansas in Puerto Rico. I believe that was either yesterday or 2 days ago, and then they are heading to Argentina this weekend to compete. Buddy Hield, DeAndre Ayton on that team, along with several other talented Bahamian players. Maybe one day Valentino Simon, who's at the free throw line, committed to Hutchinson Community College in Kansas this upcoming year. He is one of, if not the best player on this Bahamas Pirates roster. Has 7 points tonight. (46-27) lead for the Nittany Lions, who have really shared the basketball. Ten of the 11 players that have touched the floor for Penn State have scored. Leo O'Boyle, second try, a little bit too strong. Ball leaks out all the way up top, deflected by DeMarco Dunn. Pirates maintain possession. Simon calls for it, it's deflected. And a foul called against Penn State's Nick Kern. First personal on Nick Kern Jr. Penn State shooting 35% from the floor, only 3 of 19 from downtown at 16%. Again, one of the things that Mike Rhodes told me, specifically with Puff Johnson, he wants to see Puff Johnson get back to his three-point shooting ways when he was in high school. He's struggled a bit throughout college to shoot the three-pointer, but he's also developed other aspects of his game, which has helped him grow and mature as a player. Zach Hicks deep in the corner. Drives baseline, Kanye Clary, a laser beam up to DeMarco Dunn, a contested three, Zach Hicks. Penn State can't find it from three. They've missed 17 of 20 attempts from downtown. Inside a minute to play until halftime. A nice putback quickly from number 11, Andre Pierre, who is a high schooler here in Nassau. Raquandis Mitchell airballs a three. 1 second differential between the shot and game clock. Put back jam, look at Valentino Simon, a little highlight here in Paradise. He's that high-flying player who I mentioned earlier committed to Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. And maybe one day he'll find himself on a Division I roster. Let's take a look at this. The drive off backboard and comes flying in for the jam. Unmarked. Kanye Clary at the free throw line for Penn State. Clary, a four-star recruit, played in 32 games as a true freshman and decided to stick around here at Penn State, even with the departure of Micah Shrewsbury to Notre Dame, former Penn State head coach. Clary hits the second, shot clock turned off. 8 seconds and counting. The Pirates have to hurry. Contested three is off the mark. That will go out of bounds. And that is the end of the first half. Penn State leads 47-31 over the Bahamas Pirates, behind a bunch of contributions in terms of players scoring. 10 players have scored for Penn State, led by Kanye Clary with 7. No one's in double figures. That means everybody's sharing the basketball. Nittany Lions with 12 assists in that first half. We'll step aside and come back. Halftime comes your way after this on FloHoops.
All right, fans, that was a very exciting first half of tonight's game, but what's even more exciting are our two contestants that we're going to have a nice, this time, it is going to be a sibling rivalry right here. We have Peyton and we have Colton. We are doing the Bahamas Skills Challenge. To give you a quick idea of what that entails, they're going to pass the ball to our respective friends over here. We have Lauren and we have John. Once the ball is passed back, they're going to dribble, I'll say, all the way to half court. They're going to do 5 push-ups. From there, they're going to dribble, layup, rebound, and then sprint all the way down. And the first person to finish with the layup will win.